Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's episode of Q&A with Dr. A. I am so excited. We have some incredible questions, but you know what? Each week we have incredible questions. For those of you who are new to this episode series, we do a weekly answering the questions that you guys send in through email or through the radio show or our website or anything to that effect. 7 o'clock like tonight, and I do it every single Thursday, rain or shine, of course. No matter what's going on, we're going to try to come to you with some great health information. If tonight a question is spurred or some sort of thing, comments you would like to have, or you want me to go straight into a specific topic, scroll below this video either while you're watching us or at the very, very end, there's a button where you can click your questions over to us. I'll do my best to make sure we get them answered on the very next episode. But as you can imagine, we're getting more and more questions. So I answered them based upon how they come in, and we have about 25 minutes to do this tonight. So without further ado, on to question number 1. Is it okay to drink aloe vera juice? So of course, the answer is yes, but I want to talk about the difference real quick between aloe vera, the gel, and the juice. Believe it or not, you can actually eat both of them. They have a tremendous amount of benefits towards classically the digestive system. Aloe vera is a very great soother. So if we're going to talk about the gel first, of course, you have to take the plant and peel back the layers, the outer sort of shell, and you get this really nice sort of jelly-like slimy internal piece of the leaf. That's the aloe vera gel. It, by the way, is loaded with over 20 different amino acids and every vitamin under the sun, including A and D and E and even B vitamins 1 through 12 practically. In my opinion, it works for everything. I've seen studies showing that it helps to be anti-cancerous all the way down to it fixes cholesterol, lowers your cholesterol levels, changes our diabetic functions by regulating our blood sugars, and it even helps your digestive system. So it's one of those cancer to cholesterol, diabetes to digestive. It's kind of that colloquial sort of fix all of everything. When you're talking about the juice, of course, what they've done is they've juiced the gel and they add a little water to it to things that effect. It's a great detoxifier. It's loaded with antioxidants, so it helps to flush the liver out, sort of helps you to dump bile, and it's again very soothing for the intestines. I will say from personal experience, this stuff tastes kind of unique, so you start off with really small amounts of it. We're talking like 2 to 3 ounces a day, and you really want to do it on cycles. The biggest thing with the intestines is you don't want to constantly keep pushing things in it that's the same. We're learning today that if you eat the same food over and over and over again, you'll build an allergy to it. So it's not something you drink 2 ounces a day for the rest of your life. Also, one of the side effects of getting too much aloe vera is, of course, you lead towards a little bit of a diarrhea side. So sort of have some fun and play around with it. The juice is great. The gel is good. It's even great to put the gel on your skin if you have sunburns or rashes or eczema or anything like that. Ideally, what you want to look for is really good, clean aloe vera juice, meaning it's the only ingredient is aloe vera juice, maybe some water at the most. There's one called Farm Aloe. There's another one called Lily of the Desert. You can find them at Whole Foods, Healthy Home Market, and Earth Fare. It's a great, great question. Next one says, how often should I detox? And listen, I get this question a lot, and it really depends on how deep do you want to carry this conversation. Technically, you should detox every single day. So all you asked was, how often should I detox? It should be every single day. And the reason for that is, your body is producing cellular waste 24/7. You have metabolism, chemical reactions that are occurring all the time. We have free radicals, we have waste products, we have carbon dioxide, we have all kinds of toxins that need to be eliminated. Your skin's a natural detoxifying organ, so you'll sweat stuff out, you'll push stuff out, you'll pimple it out, you'll detox it across. You urinate, you defecate, you are a detoxifier. So technically, in my world, you want to support your detox pathways every single day. A couple great ways of doing that is, of course, drinking lots of water. About a gallon a day would be ideal. Maybe popping some lemon juice or some lime juice in it because it enhances your kidney function and also your liver function. A really good detoxifier is something we use. It's called Daily Defense. It's a turmeric extract curcumin with a capsaicin, sort of spice, black pepper, and also superoxide dismutase, and a Indian gooseberry extract, which is great antioxidant detoxifiers. I think your question, though, is probably asking more like, how often should I do a detox or some sort of like cleanse flushing? That, to me, is really dependent upon a lot of your health conditions. I'll give you an example. Somebody that has cancer, we're going to be detoxing them probably on a regular cycle until we get their condition under control. Somebody that wants to lose weight, we might do 2 months, a 90-day detox program. If you're just looking for like long-term health and wellness, I detox myself on a push every quarter. So every time the seasons change, it's time for me to do a 4-week detox. And regularly throughout the year, I do a daily version of detox by taking the Daily Defense and using just my general antioxidants and my supplements. Again, the human body is constantly producing toxins, and you're constantly exposed to them. Think about this. The air has junk in it. We got smog outside. We have VOCs and volatile compounds inside. Paints and glues. We have our clothes, which have various forms of cleansers and cleaners on them depending upon the products you use. We have all the products in your house. We have shampoos and lotions and sprays and pesticides and herbicides. Basically today, if you have a pulse, you're toxic. So we need to make sure you're doing something to sort of just wash your body on a regular basis. Not just taking a shower, but washing the inside of you. Next question is a fun one, guys. I like this. I want to start eating healthy. What would be my step number 1? And I'm going to add some other stuff to this. Like, how do I transition from I just became aware that I eat terrible and I want to start eating great? What's that transition look like so it's not cold turkey and moving into something new? So here's something I was taught a long time ago from one of my initial nutrition coaches. Before you take out bad foods, you should just start adding a good food. So for example, if your traditional diet is Snickers bar with a Diet Coke for breakfast, which by the way, I say that because I've had several patients who confess that's what they did for breakfast for periods of time. Some sort of like fast food lunch, and then, I don't know, maybe it's like a lean cuisine or Stouffer's, or I'm just making all this up, okay? Highly processed fast food, no nutrient density diet. Okay, I would just say, well, stay on that to start. We're a beginner here. But could you eat at least an apple once a day? Could you add a salad in between? Could you consider maybe one smoothie a day added to what you're doing? That'll have huge benefits for a person at that level of nutrition. Now again, we're talking that's a lot of work to do. So we would start by adding a healthy food. And then once you start to get the benefits of the added nutrition, and I would usually pick nutrient-dense salads or a smoothie or something like that. Now we start to say, okay, now that you've added that apple or you've added this smoothie and you've been doing that for 2 or 3 weeks, do you think you could not do your Snickers bar, Pepsi breakfast and do the smoothie instead? Now we take something out. Does that make sense? So we add first, then we remove. If I'm going to go down the list of what would we remove, sugar is by far the number 1 thing that needs to be removed as fast as you can. Now that's a heavy hitter because sugar's in everything. So maybe we start removing the carbonated beverages, or maybe we start removing the added sugar, sweets, or whatever. Again, I don't know what your diet looks like, but I would just get the sugar out as fast as you can. That's all the sugary fruits like pears and nectarines and peaches, grapes, etc. All the sugary stuff, the ice creams and the pastries and the donuts, and just sugar, sugar, sugar. No sugar in your coffee, no sugar in your tea. Sugar needs to go by. Next would be the grains. So bread products form into sugar, but they're also found in a lot of the stuff that we eat, and gluten's inflammatory. It causes health problems for most people. So I would get sugar out first, I would get the grains out second, and actually I would add fat as my 3rd major step. You need more fat to be healthy. So we would, sugar gone, grains gone, fats in, then I would switch over and start going organic over everything because of all the pesticides and the herbicides reducing your toxic exposure. Then I would make the transition to clean meats like grass-fed, free-range, etc. And if you're doing that, you've got a stellar diet to start with. The next step would be, when do we eat and what kind of supplements are we adding? So this is a loaded question, but it's a great one. So in summary, if you're the person who's doing Snickers, Pepsi breakfast, McDonald's lunch, and Stouffer's dinner, is just add something healthy. And then once you've done that, start cutting out the stuff you're currently eating. Get rid of the sugars, get rid of the grains, add the fats, make sure you're eating organic vegetables, fruits if you're going to do that, and then make your meats and your proteins as clean as you can. That would be great. The next step from that point would be to start looking at, when do you eat your foods? As you guys know, we talk a lot about some of the best science behind boosting immunity, losing weight, clearing your brain is on intermittent dieting, skipping breakfast, just eating lunch and dinner. So I would do all the stuff you just did, but only have lunch and dinner. And then I would start working on the ratios of your fats and your proteins and your carbs. But again, that's too much for probably you if you're just saying, I want to start eating healthy, what's step one? So we got lots of resources for you. Make sure you keep tuning in. Next one's an even more fun question. More fun or funner? Definitely more fun. How do I increase my focus and brain power while I'm at work? I get mentally exhausted after 5 or 6 hours at my job. Yeah, so it's a good one. So today, partly, our modern world, I mean, we got so much stuff coming at us. It's easy to get exhausted just because our brain is on overload. You know, if you think back to like, I don't know, I'm just making this up, maybe the 40s or 50s, we sat down, we didn't have a computer, we had a typewriter, we had a phone, and we just kind of like, somebody came to us and said, hey, can you type this out? We would type it, we'd be finished with that. A very kind of slow, natural paced life. Today it's like my texts are going off, I got 3 emails, I got a timer going over here, my boss is yelling at me through my Bluetooth speaker, like it's crazy. So, the first step is learning mindfulness and how to calm the chatter down. If you can practice meditating and calming your own brain, then when you're in an environment of just constant barrage of information, you'll find that it doesn't distract you as much because you learn how to filter out a lot of the noise. So I would say firstly, you got to get into a good routine of kind of managing your brain. You know, I do a 10 to 15 minute meditation every single day, right when I wake up, first thing in the morning, just for the sheer sake of trying to quiet my mind and focus on what I want to have happen for the day. Second thing, of course, chiropractic. Getting your spine adjusted is great for sort of mental attitudes, focus, attention, memory. There is a lot of science and research showing that when you're subluxated or you're out of alignment, you can tend to carry stress across all the joints of your neck, your upper back. It gives you that like low, dull, aching headache and that sort of just constant fatigue. So sometimes just getting adjusted, keeping your spine aligned properly, changing the ergonomics of your desk will help with your energy flow. But I want to talk to you about some vitamins and nutrients that you can use. Vitamin D is fantastic. There's actually a receptor in your brain within the hippocampus that if it's activated, we have difficulty with our focus and our memory and our attention. So there is a component of vitamin D that's a major player in sort of changing the reaction of how memory works inside of our brain. What you do is by taking vitamin D, you stimulate the hippocampus and you actually activate the memory pathways and your focus pathways. Now, 5,000 units of 5,000 international units of vitamin D is kind of your classic recommendation. But if you're somebody who's having a difficult time, what you can do is you can bump that dose if you're an adult to about 10,000 and really put the pedal to metal for the hippocampus. Another thing is your brain is made of fat. So a lot of times when we get memory fog or focus attention difficulties, I'm having just clarity of my brain's shooting out, it usually means you're eating too much of the wrong types of fats. So like the unhealthy sort of saturated fats that we tend to find in animal products, and we're not eating a lot of polyunsaturated fatty acids or the monounsaturated fatty acids or medium chain triglycerides, all of these like healthy fats. Because your brain's made of fat, the more fat you eat, the better your body can build new brain tissues, have more neurological connections, and so we get really good quality brain power. I'm a big fan of getting them from things like fatty meats, like grass-fed meats, and fish like salmon and mackerel and sardines, etc. But also taking them. Coconut oil is a great fat for your brain. They've actually found out that the brain uses ketone bodies more than it uses sugar, and coconut oil is basically like eating liquid ketones, so it's also a fat. There's another study that even shows that if you just drink a cup of coffee on a regular basis, maybe like in the mid-afternoon, and it's got to be, again, clean, pesticide-free organic coffee, like the purity that we've always talked about. There's a compound in coffee within the caffeine that blocks the adenosine molecule in the brain, and it helps you to produce more dopamine. And dopamine is sort of that like, I've got great alertness, I feel fresh, I feel young. And so that's why a lot of people turn to coffee to kind of give them that alertness. Not the caffeine itself, but the effect of what the caffeine does in the brain. Lastly, of course, B12 is known as your vitamin boosting energy. You look at all the energy shots like 5-Hour Energy and all the different energy drinks, Red Bull, Monster, etc. What they're doing is they're using really high dose vitamin B12. The problem with those is it's all sugar, caffeine, and other toxic ingredients. But B12 is what gives you an energy push. So there's nothing wrong with maybe doing a sublingual B12 vitamin or just taking your B vitamins. Incidentally, they've discovered that people who have brain shrinking diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia and difficulty with remembering things and being focused all have been found to be vitamin B12 deficient. And B12 comes a lot of sources like your dairy and your eggs and beef and chicken and even seafood. So great resources for you for that. Next question says, are there any chain restaurants or fast food places that aren't too unhealthy? And in all reality, the answer is unfortunately no. Pretty much you want to avoid about 99% of all restaurants that you eat at. Now there are about 1%, and I'm going to give you a couple lists of places here locally you can eat at. But I want to talk to you about the business of fast food. Part of the idea behind it is the faster food gets, we have to control cost because we have to have multiple people working in an industry. You go inside like your average Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or Wendy's, and you're going to find that they've got like at least 10 people working in the back. And you might go, why do we need so many? Because this person's cooking this, and that person bags this, and this goes over here. So we have high labor costs, and we have low food costs to pull a profit. So usually when you're going to these chain restaurants, what they're doing is they're trying to save as much money as they can by buying the cheapest, most ineffective foods on the market. The chicken's probably from China and might not even be chicken 100%. When we talk about chain restaurants, like say ones that you would find in any state, regardless of where you're going, McDonald's and these kind of places, the challenge behind them is that they're pretty much inexpensive foods. And they're trying as hard as they can because they're recognizing that less and less of us are eating them. So they're trying to offer all these healthy salad options and sides and smoothies and things like that. But again, remember, profit is their big push. So they're going to try to skimp on as much as they can. When you talk about like a really good quality organic restaurant, the reason that it costs more is to get coconut milk as opposed to this GMO corn-fed milk, or to get organic lettuce instead of, like say traditional conventional lettuce, or to have a gluten-free bun instead of a wheat bun that's been bleached and brominated. It costs more money for them. So they have to recoup the cost by charging you more for the food. There are a few chains though that have been trying to fight against that. So specifically, Panera Bread and Chipotle by far have at least said starting soon, it hasn't happened yet, but maybe 2017, 2018, they're going to go free-range chicken, organic vegetable products, and to try to stay GMO-free as much as they can with their vegetables. Now that is fantastic. If I was going to eat at some place, I'd probably pick that. But again, that hasn't hit 100% yet. The other option would be to potentially go to our website, which is AskDrErnst.com. We have a section under our downloads tab that has our local and healthy restaurant list. Now I've been scouring this area to try to find places that match the cellular healing diet. These are going to be farm-to-table restaurants or relatively fast food places you can go and get raw foods at, or even sit-down full restaurants that are going to serve organic, healthy foods. Some of my favorite, by the way, this is in no means them giving me any sort of money to promote them, is Heirloom, Fork, Fern, and Halcyon. Those four are pretty much, I'm at there at least once a month at the minimum, just dining out myself. These more like cafe-style chains would be Pickled Peach in Davidson and Luna's Living in South End. Great sort of little cafes you can run in, grab something, run out if you want, or you can sit down and eat there. But they're like, guys, they exist. You just have to go find them. Last question of the night says, you talk a lot about lemon water, like what we can do with lemon water fast. That's great, etc. But you never really talk about limes or any other fruits. Are there any other fruit water fasts? Okay, so the challenge is yes and no. So like lemons classically, the reason that I use them is because they have a type of acids which helps to increase the citrate in your urine. And what citrate does is it prevents stone formation. So it's actually a flush for the kidneys. Most of us have difficulty flushing out our toxic liquids. So lemon water is a really good detoxifier in that it activates your kidneys. Limes are very similar, so you're going to find it's a citrus fruit. They have same kind of pH nature. For some reason, though, limes are a little bit more detoxifying to your liver and your gallbladder. So you could mix them up if you want and do a lemon water fast one day and a lime fast the other day, knowing that you're hitting different regions. But just burn into your brain, lime is gallbladder, lime is liver. It's kind of easy to remember because limes are green and bile is green. Lemons are yellow and urine's yellow, so it just came to me like that. But the idea is that's what nature does, right? It makes food products that work very similarly to what your body is producing. So you know how we say walnuts, when you crack them open, they're all undulated, they look like your brain? Well, walnuts are great for your brain. Or a sweet potato, if you slice it in half, looks a lot like a pancreas. Not that you've probably seen what a pancreas looks like, but it does. So guess what? They're great for regulating blood sugars. You know, like an avocado looks a lot like a woman's uterus if it had an egg inside of it, like a womb. So it's great for ovarian controls, really good fats for the uterus and ovaries. So again, that's God doing that for you. So I'd like to say let's focus on that. Sadly, there's no organ that looks like a peach or a lime, an orange or an apple or anything to that effect. So citrus fruits are great. We like the acids. They help you to detox. Lemons are for kidneys. Limes are for liver and gallbladders. And I hope that that helps to answer your question. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We had a great show. Don't forget, we are wrapping out the year. And starting January, everybody's going to be thinking about how do I lose weight? How do I get fit? How do I get more energy back? And so my office is hosting a weight loss summit that has 2 primary events come January. One is our dinner seminar, where I'll take you out to eat and I'll teach you the steps to literally 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds as fast as you want, getting off medications and boosting your energy. And then secondly, we're doing our weight loss summit, which is our full sort of seminar experience at the Holiday Inn Express here in Charlotte. They're both in January. The dates and times information are below this video for you. Right now, gosh, it's still literally like 5 or 6 weeks until even some of these, and we're getting to almost 20% capacity. I simply just hang a sheet in my office that says, do you want to lose weight? And I'll show you how to do it, and it fills up. So don't wait. Take the opportunity right now to get registered for that. We're still in early bird free registration, which means there's absolutely no cost to you, only just your investment in the time to show up and for me to show you guys how to have an incredible 2017. I know it's gone by fast this year, but next year is going to go by even quicker. And what I would hope for you is that you have people coming up to you going, oh my gosh, how did you do this? Can you share with me your secret? And that's when you get to say, my secret is I became part of the Ask Dr. Ernst Network. Until I see you guys next week, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.